Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Full Credit to Not Another Dom Young Stalking Podcast. I'm your special guest, former legend. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and that second-hand condom platform that is Blue Sky, at former_legend. And let's kick off with what caught my senses in the past 7 days. I don't know if you've heard about this, boys. It's this bakery in Pattaya in Thailand, a place I know well, called Wan Fat Cock Bakehouse. They've completely taken over TikTok and Instagram after introducing a Si Mi Kun croissant. Now, the pastry is cut long ways and then stuffed with sweet white cream, topped with finely shredded, dark, fat choy seaweed, intentionally styled to look like a patch of pubic hair. Now, it was originally created as a bit of a joke for a customer's pranked birthday, but it's gone viral as daring foodies line up now to buy their own version of the croissant. Now, one customer said the fake hair has never really bothered him. He just pushes it to the side and keeps on chewing. Another punter said anytime he doesn't find a Frankfurt or two meatballs in his Pattaya croissant, it's a good day. But the success of the croissants has sparked other ideas for the bakery. But before you ask, I'd steer clear of the sticky date pudding if I was you. Now, enough of that. Time to do a rapid recap of round 20, which was, of course, Ferrari round, where the NRL offered free ticket entry to anyone who drives a Ferrari to the game. Now, to be honest, there weren't a lot of people who took up the offer, obviously, except at the Roosters game, which coincidentally coincided with Roosters Old Boys round, where former players turned up to cheer on the tricolours. And it's amazing to see how many of these blokes turned up in Ferraris. Even blokes like Dallas Hood, Todd Byrne, Gavin Lester, Shane Shackleton, and even Nick Kuparitsis. They all drive Ferraris and they used to play for the Roosters. I mean, I don't know how they do it. It's an amazing club. Anyway, let's start down there on Thursday night when the Broncos beat the Panthers 14 points to 12 out there at Spurbank Stadium to keep their faint semi-finals hopes alive and get their first win since autumn. Now, before the game, there were strong rumours that Reece Walsh was back on the schooners of shithouse water, and it looks like those rumours might be true when he set up all three of Brisbane's tries and stepped up under immense pressure to nail the match-winning sideline conversion. Now, following a fiery first-half scuffle between Payne Haas and Penrith's Chris Martin, referee Todd Smith, the NRL physio lookalike, warned both captains that any further misconduct would result in players being immediately benched. Now, despite plenty of aggression, plenty of pushing and shoving, it continued throughout the second half. Of course, Smith, well, he just pissed his pants and just wanted the game to be over, basically. On Friday, and the Sharks held on to beat a plucky Knights team 20 points to 18 out there at the permanent worksite Ocean Outfall Stadium in front of 8,000 people who were required to wear safety hats. The game actually went 4 tries to 3 to the Knights, but the strawberry milkshake man, Kalyn Ponga, ultimately cost his side when he couldn't kick snow off a shovel, or a shithouse lid for that matter, converting just 1 from 4 attempts. It was the second loss in a row for the Knights, and their past 3 losses have all been by the barest margin of 2 points. Ironically, 2 points is also how much cocaine you take into a disabled toilet with a mate. Anyway, for the Sharks, they've now entered the top 4 with their 11th win of the year, and it must be soul-destroying for their fans to know that Cronulla are about to end the season in 4th place and then traditionally lose their first 2 semis to end up in Bali by mid-September. The second game on Friday was at Politis Pappas Stadium, where the Roosters outbored the Storm 14 points to 6 in front of 16,000 hairdressers, stockbrokers and entrepreneurs in conditions that were wetter than the front row of a Harry Styles concert. It was the Roosters' 12th win of the season, and while it was a far from convincing victory, it keeps them firmly entrenched in the top 4, and they did it despite Sammy Walker having a tough night with the boot. In fact, he was kicking them so bad, he made Kalyn Ponga look like Maradona. Actually, when you think about it, Kalyn Ponga has made Kalyn Ponga look like Maradona on a couple of occasions. Saturday, and the Raiders beat the Bunnies 34 points to 24 at Germ Cold Stadium in a 6 tries to 4 victory. The Green Machine have now won 3 on the trot, and it was the Viking fans with the clap who were excited about a possible entry into the semi-finals and a shot at redemption after last year's disappointment. But they're going to have to do it without their inspirational second rower, Hudson Hawk, who blew out his Achilles and introduced anyone in the players' tunnel to some new swear words as he was taking into the dressing room. Canberra, who now need 5 wins from their last 6 games to make the 8, were led by Stan Weeks and the man they call the fucking weirdo, Ethan Strange. Weeks was electric. He scored 2 tries, his 4th double of his career, and 2nd against South this season, while the fucking weirdo had 2 try assists and looked to be the difference all afternoon. The second game on Saturday was at Right Wing Media Stadium, where the Warriors beat the Buy 20 points to 12. And the Auckland hoodoo continues for St George, who travelled to Auckland hoping to break a massive curse, having not getting a win at Right Wing Stadium for 15 years. And they put up a massive fight to almost get the job done, but couldn't beat the massive curse of having referee Chris Hometown Butler officiating the game. And after the match, former beach sprinter Damien Cook lost his shit, called the referee unfair, and said his team never gets the rub of the green because everyone thinks they're shit. And let's be honest, he's half right with that statement. While the result mightn't have gone the Dragons' way, there are some good signs for the future, especially from the Lounge Suite boys Toby and Ryan Couchman. The identical twins combined for 31 runs, 293 running metres and 102 tackles. And I know what you're all out there about to ask me, former, what were their individual stats? And to that, I say, how the fuck would I know? They're identical. The final game on Saturday was from Empty Seat Stadium, where the Dogs beat the team of destiny, the West Tigers, in the Galvin Cup, 32 points to 0. While the Dogs scored 32 unanswered points, many good judges believe they at least left another 4 tries on the table. A few key ball drops stopped them from running up an even bigger score. Well, that and the fact that they have the blue sky equivalent of an attacking coach in Adam, don't you know who I am, O'Brien. And the game hit a high point when West Tigers lock Alex Twal handed out a slap to one of the most punchable heads in the rugby league, Bulldogs back rower Jamin Salmon, or as Ricky Stewart called him.
He was a weak-gutted dog as a kid, and he hasn't changed now. He's a weak-gutted dog person now.
Referee Rob Bruff gave Twal 10 minutes in the bin and the second Tiger to have a rest on the pine that afternoon, and dashed any hopes of the Tigers scoring 33 points in 15 minutes to come back and win the game. And after the game, Salmon said he shook hands with Twal, he called him sir, he gave his boots a clean, he went and washed his car, and he wasn't sure what he'd done, but he'll never do it again. Sunday, and the Fosball fraud show is over. The high-flying Titans beat the Sea Eagles 38 points to 32 at Bang Bus Super Stadium to hand Manly their third loss on the trot. Remember when Brookvale was going Kieran Foran crazy, renaming streets, relabelling businesses, and even swapping out Colonel Sanders with Foran's Melon at the KFC? Well, the only shop now using Foz in their promotions is the Manly Busted Ass shop, as the Sea Eagles limp from one bad result to another. And speaking of limping, it was bad news for the Sea Eagles in the injury front, with Turbo Trebojevic tearing one of his al dente hamstrings. It's pretty hard to make jokes about this situation, so all I can say in good news for Tom is that if he took me on in a foot race right now in the nick I'm in, he'd still have me covered over 100 metres, even down the Corso after a dozen cans. The Titans now sit on 16 points in 16th place, 3 wins ahead of the Dragons and almost certainly avoiding the Pine Ladle for another year. The final game on Sunday saw the Dolphins beat the Cowboys 36 points to 16 at Bob Catter Oval. It was a dramatic bounce back for the Dolphins after suffering their worst ever defensive showing the week before against the Sharks. The Dolphins responded with an emphatic performance. Despite falling behind early, they rallied ruthlessly to score 4 unanswered tries and blow the match wide open, ultimately winning in a 6-3 romp. For the Dolphins, winger Jermaine Jackson had an afternoon to remember. He kicked 6 goals and crossed for 2 tries in a magical performance. The win marked a critical tactical milestone for Christian Wolf's side. It was their second victory from 8 matches when missing their young playmaker Isaiah Katoa, proving the squad can clutch games without him guiding the ship. So that's around 20 wrapped up, boys, around where they turned the lights out on Fosball. Kalyn Ponga wouldn't kick his cat, and the Bulldogs beat a team of blokes more comfortable with a bell in the ball. Back to you in the Nathan Brooks Memorial Studios.
See some action, baby. I gotta see some action.